There we go.
Call the meeting to order and we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, welcome everyone to our July 8th preliminary budget meeting. We are live on Zoom today for our budget meetings, and this morning we'll start with Katie Thompson, our county agent, and we'll start with the county fair budget.
Okay, altogether, it looks like the budget for this coming year 2025 to be $36,297. To get that amount, I have 15% of Sarah Arndt's with support staff. Her salary goes into the fair in the month of September and the first part of October. We are very busy getting fair prep completed, and then there's about a week's worth after the fair, so that's where that is figured. We have $500 slated for any part-time help that we may need to call in to help administer things during the fair, and we are planning to use that this year. I have a few individuals on my radar who have said that they would be willing to serve in that capacity if we need. And that's just for like the 3 days of the fair is what we're anticipating right now. But we aren't sure if Sue Brumland is planning to come in to get the usual 4-H stuff ready. I think we've got it under control, but if she wants to come in and go through it just to make sure we're on the right track, then there's funding to cover that for her as well. We have about $500 slated for postage and supplies. The $8,500 is what the county commission has generally provided to the Fair Association so that they can administer the fair. We have $20,000 slated, which has been kind of the customary practice to help care for the building, maintenance, and any other things. So altogether, we have $36,295 for that budget right now. Are there any questions on the budget for that?
Okay, we'll move on to county agent.
Okay. So county agent, all totaled up, I believe it was $152,058.
Katie, can I ask you to just?
Yep.
Hold on for a minute. I don't have a county agent. We'll give you time to.
I'll just follow along. Well, I have it on here.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, there's right at the top of the budget, it's the miscellaneous revenue that comes in. Some of that is it maybe our trust account, Christie? Or is it?
I'm just pulling it up. I'm sorry, Katie.
There, it says $250 came in last fall, and I don't know if that's for programming.
Let me pull
With
that
like
up.
the.
So a lot of
Right at the
times, that miscellaneous revenue, it could even be like a refund of some sort.
Okay,
There has to be one, but let me pull it up, and see what was actually put in.
okay.
Yes.
Excuse me. I wasn't sure on that, but again, it's revenue, so we never know exactly what's happening for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just getting logged in.
and should we maybe come back to that? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So going down, starting with the account number 481101. That's for our ag agent. At this time, the county's share for the 2025 year would be $30,750. So since they're on a biennium, it gets a little confusing, but I do have the figure. And I believe Sarah said that when she submitted the budget. But for the A&R agent, January 1 to June 30th, they have it slated at $60,000. And then an increase of $3,000 for the second half of the year, because they're on the biennium in July 1 to June 30, and we're calendar year. So anyway, that salary breakdown, the county pays 50% of our salaries, and then NDSU extension takes care of our benefits. For my salary, they've got me down for 33,293 as the county's share. For our secretary, or support staff, 85% of her salary is at 38,515. Again, we have $500 so that if we know that we're going to have some times where both Sarah and I need to be gone for different obligations out of the office or vacations, we've got $500 slated to find some part-time office help. For office supplies, we're at $4,000. That is down because we are planning on dropping our postage meter starting June 1st or January 1st, excuse me. We found out it was costing us a lot of money for that lease, and we're just not sending out so many letters that we can't purchase stamps. And then any larger items bring it to the post office. So we're gonna cut that expense. In that $4,000 though is our copier lease. Our copier lease is $210.67 each month. We do utilize that, and then we also try to bill any fare. So basically 1 month of our lease, we have the fare budget pick up that expense for their office supplies. Travel, we have it at 12,000. This is a big jump, but this is because we are going to have 2 different conferences next year for each extension agent position. We'll have our fall conference in November, and then they're planning our spring conference, one for A&R, one for FCW. But it will be a little bit longer than we typically have done so that we can get more of our structured professional development in. So those will be most likely in Fargo and Bismarck, and with the travel expenses and hotel expenses going up, my district director suggested we put in for 12,000, as well as trying to budget for a professional conference at the national level for each agent. And then just with the county, we're hoping that we'll have an ag agent in place very soon. So there will be a lot of travel with them being their first year professional development, meeting with their mentors, traveling to the surrounding counties to develop relationships and kind of get some on-the-job training from them. So that's why it's significantly higher, our request. Last year I requested $9,000. I'm guessing I will use all of my travel budget this year, just because of, I've got 3 trips out to the western part of the state just this month. So state fair is a busy time for us, as well as leading a week-long camp down at the 4-H camp.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
Katie, can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said last year you had 9,000 for your budget,
No, we requested that.
requested 9,000?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we gave you 5,000 apparently.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was looking at.
Yep.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Oh, and also does NDC, do they chip in on that at all or?
They take care of some of our travel. They will, if we're part of like a hiring committee, then they pick up the tab for that, and they take care of some travel for that new agent for like new staff orientation.
Mhm.
But not a lot of it when it's just trying to get them integrated into our county and our region.
Okay, okay, but you feel you'll use the full 5,000 that?
This
was your
year,
budget?
yeah.
Okay.
Especially if we get another agent.
Mhm.
If I have to take them out during the workday, that's, that's something that has to be done. When I have to do our Seymour reporting, Dean and I just have always kind of done a date night where we will just drive around and look at crops. And so this year I'm like, okay, it's Thursday night, we gotta go up to, the northeastern part of the county. And so then we'll head there, and I don't charge out my mileage for that because it's more relaxing time.
Mhm.
But it's good, so I can just say, stop, pick up, I need a picture of this, and then I attach it to my Seymour report, so. So I'm trying to save some there. Going down to the telephone, I've got $2,000 expected for that, our average monthly bill is around $250. If I'm calling another agent, I oftentimes use my cell phone, because many times they're not in the office, or we need to contact each other when we're not in the office, so that saves on some. But if I need to call somebody who is a member of the public, then I use the office phone. Much of that is local, but sometimes it's long distance. Postage, again, we've got $500 for that slated. We are asking for a $500 programming line item, just to pick up some of those initiating, expenses, like, different materials that we might need so that we can have a class. We try to charge a fee for any classes that we have, but sometimes it's not enough to cover it. And so then it's been like our miscellaneous account, but it would be nice to be able to track that a little better for the future. So that was the big rationale for asking for the programming line item. Marketing, kind of the same thing. We haven't done any paid print or radio advertising for events, but that would really help. For example, we've got the plot tour coming up on July 15th. And the only thing I've been able to do is talk about it in my article and then ask that they submit it in their, like their area events section in the newspapers. Fringe benefits for our support staff, that's slated at $20,000. Miscellaneous expense, we've got at $1,500 right now. I believe we took 500 out so that we could use that between like the programming and the marketing, because that's what we kind of had figured we had used in the past. And then we've kept 8,000 for our capital outlay. So that would be things like my windows that the rock shattered, so we're replacing the windows, or I'm doing some things like that. I'm also looking at making some improvements in the office. I've got one quote in to replace the flooring, but I don't have a second quote just yet. We would need, we've got one from J-Mark to start with, but we need, I believe it's 3 more quotes to have someone come in and measure things. So we're working on that. Our carpet in the main office is really pretty bad because we've got so many farmers that come in, and the door opener that we had before we replaced them with the automatic openers, that had leaked oil, so there's always been an oil stain on that part of our carpet. It would be nice to replace the carpet in our office as well. We're looking at carpet tile. Jason had come in and he suggests that we do a vinyl plank. Certainly that's a big improvement for cleaning, but the sound, it echoes so badly when you don't have carpet. So we're looking at some of those options because I know that we have a lot in our reserve that should be spent down. And so I would like it to be something that we can put back into our building. And I'm still hoping that Jason would work with me so that we can update our bathrooms so that they are ADA compliant. They absolutely are not right now. The one might be closer to it, but the men's restroom is especially needing improvement.
Madam Chairman, with the flooring, just an idea too, Aramark goes around and does do rugs. And so that, I kind of like the idea if I don't just from a point of cleaning, with carpet and the amount of traffic that you get. But that is a nice option to have that they can, and then they come in, it's a budget thing, obviously, but they come in weekly to replace those. So just something to think about, maybe in the main office and carpet in your offices or whatever it could be, but.
Thank you for sharing that. Being new to the county chair position or role, I'm not exactly sure what the procedures are, other than we try to get 3 bids to do the different projects and then we bring it to you. I know that I believe it's July 15th that you wanted to know what or maybe I just read that somewhere else. But where you guys wanted to know well in advance what we're planning for capital projects in the future. So we're working on it, but it's been busy for us and trying.
As long as it's in the budget, I mean, that's part of something that you would bring up later too, but if you're trying to get it in the budget, that's fine.
Okay, and
We don't know, people don't know ahead of time sometimes what.
we have so much spent salary savings.
Yep,
So it's
from
from
that.
nice, like we've already got it,
Yes,
let's utilize it in a wise manner
yep.
if possible.
I like the idea of you, updating things every now and then, because then it'll be done in a while.
Yeah,
You said you were thinking of going to postage and stamps?
Yes,
Have you thought about buying a bunch ahead of time in this?
yes,
Because I
because
think
they go
about
up on Friday.
Yeah, yep, I just did some.
This Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we have the purchasing part that we utilize for that,
Okay,
so. It's on our radar, if that sounds like a good idea to you guys.
yeah, I would.
Those postage machines are very expensive.
Yeah, and we just don't use this
We
so the
didn't
tape
either.
dries out, so I said to Sarah, there's gotta be a better way
Mhm.
to really, so we have a locked cabinet where we'll keep all the stamps so that it's not misused.
Mhm.
So if you need really strict tracking on that, please let me know so that we start in compliance, meeting your expectations.
Any more questions for Katie? Okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions, leave your job and then.
Good luck with the interviews.
Thank you. We're hoping that we have an in-person on Friday. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next we have the water board.
Kind of in the back.
Water resource. Ready, Daryl?
Larry's coming up in a minute.
Okay. Okay, then we're gonna take just a couple minute recess here.
hired help. They pay a lot. You guys wanna start doing that? We can just start.
We'll call the meeting back to order and start with the Water Resource District. Morning, Larry.
Good morning. We can go to the budget request of the first sheet on your folder. We can go through them all real quick. Heating control, pretty much. The just and county maps, same thing we've done now. There's a big map on the lead, we've been trying to update that a little bit, we haven't did that for about 2-3 years. Legal on the county fee, $20,000 surveying. $20,000 to total of $42,000. Dam maintenance, that's just stuff that we do at the Forest River, at dams and the Forest River. Dam that $10,000 be $20,000. All the expenses. Permits, dues and conferences, we go to Bismarck for the convention and stuff like that, $2,000. Insurance. For us. And the office supplies, each one $7,400, $7,000 off, for telephone $3,500 for a total of $19,950. Taxes and benefits and retirements, $32,000, salaries $121,350. $154,700. Travel. We have lodging $5,300, $241,000.
That's down quite a bit. When you're. Like, if you look at the year before, you were at 670,000.
Yeah, those dam studies.
Yeah,
But just when you look at that other, if you're looking at the details, you're looking at the dam recaps. Don't look at that because that's money that comes from NRCS that comes into us.
Oh, okay.
And we pay that and that goes out. So that has nothing to do with our budget. That should be
In and out.
standalone
Yeah.
by itself. So that throws that off and that money that comes in to us. And we don't. Pay any parent that's what that. By the federal government or whatever.
Why did survey expenses go up so much from 2020? From last year?
Sometimes we got complaints. So we have to go and investigate them. So when we do that, we have to hire either Dan Fisher or Houston Engineering. So we had a lot of complaints last year. We have to go and survey, get that survey data. And bring them all back, that's why that varies. Last year, the complaints were crazy.
Right, because last year you requested 7,000 and this year you're requesting 20,000.
You have a multitude of complaints, and by law, we have to go and investigate, and that's all on our expense.
So you're expecting that many complaints this year again?
Oh, yeah, well,
Been getting worse at last year, open side, it takes a lot of money plus lawyers to play with that stuff.
Every time you got a meeting, you got a slot in there for complaints and you review them.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. And the only way you can do it, you have to go get it surveyed, so you actually got enough. Data to support what you make, what you're.
the other thing that may offset that the new law coming in is that if they either define it as a frivolous complaint, or if they lose their complaint, we can send them a bill for all of our expenses, so there may be some balancing or something new, but we don't know that it's brand new yet, so.
That would be good though.
Well, we're gonna exercise that statute.
Because these people just put out complaints and really don't.
They just,
They don't know the expense of those.
well, that's right.
No, they're doing it on purpose. Are they work? Yeah.
Because by law, we have to go and investigate it, we have to have enough data, so we either look smart or at least know what we're talking about when we're working on the complaint.
Somebody makes a bad complaint, so you have to go get Houston out there, and then if they don't give you rights to get on the property, and you have to go to court to get permission to get on the land and take it. A lot of, you want to go the proper way.
Sure.
And there's other things, that, another thing we just had, the Keelan Dam got blocked up and we had divers come out there and we just sort of, and they gave us code, so they have, normally you have a 3-man team and I think it's like 385 or $400, but so they decided to need a 4-man, so that $585 an hour. Plus the air compressor and plus, so I think the bill was about $24,000. And they didn't get it on fund the first time. To me, I think the guy was a little bit overweight, didn't know how to get it done, so they come out there again and do it again. Now they charge another $24,000.
Well, we don't know for sure.
You don't know, but where.
That's where you, dam maintenance, one dam like that could take, I mean,
And they make the judge allow it here, and then I think the second guy that came out was a lot younger, and he got the gauge up. So they charged, we haven't got that bill yet, but it just blows my mind that they can do it,
No,
and you think, you should pay.
I think we're gonna be sitting down on the old.
we'll be negotiating that cost because they went and rented a air compressor from Acme, you know, big powerful one, and that engine would get hot and
Shut down.
it would shut down, and I mean, it was just a, and if they went and paid that, they were stupid to do that, whatever they rented, but it don't work.
Yeah, you didn't really get the job done.
And as the first group of guys, they said, well, we just can't get her, so I think we better quit again. You're just paying for something that we can't get. Well,
First, I wasn't there, but the first guy looked like he was a little bit overweight and got down and couldn't get the cage on, so they got the next guy that was younger, then he had the younger guy.
well, you
Got
got
a cage.
or just more seasoned, and they got the job done.
Any more questions for the water resource budget? Okay, well. This was quick and easy.
We have
Nothing,
another page, don't we? No?
But the thing with transfers,
Oh, the thing is a breakdown, okay.
yeah,
Madam Chairman, I have
Yes.
one question. So when we're looking at 2024 for last year and the dam maintenance. So the Forest River, Park River, it was requested for 10,000, but it was 83,800 for Forest River. So then that line item ended up being for both 93,800 in 2024. Do you just pull that from reserve, or, I mean, because that wasn't budgeted for,
that's, that included in the study, so is that some of the money in the study?
No, that money would have to come out of savings. Yeah,
and I don't really remember, there was just more issues with.
We just have, if something just like the bill that's for these divers, we're gonna have to pull from other budgets to pay. When you make these budget requests, we don't anticipate going through some eyes and all of a sudden it happens, so what do you do? So you just have to pull somebody and cut some things out.
So I
You
don't
know,
feel
sure, we got some money in savings, you take it out of there, and we just gotta do it, don't we?
The 10,000 is usually pretty enough,
Yeah.
sufficient for
Yeah,
normal
you know,
years.
that's pretty much. You know, it doesn't vary much, you know, and you might have something that goes wrong, you just have to go and do it, because there's things that you don't know.
Sometimes, Amy, we need to know what normal is, so that.
Well, unexpected, more, the right word.
Water isn't normal.
We don't even know what normal is.
Normal, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
what expenses and what happened there. So, anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, fun.
Thank you. You coming down for that?
by 10 o'clock.
I'm gonna do yours.
so
Yeah.
I'll probably come down and ask you if I get a break or something, yeah.
Yours is maybe for a half.
Who's all gonna be there?
It's not gonna be-
Is this ours?
No, it's not.
You hit?
We'll take a recess. And we have our tax director, Mr. Sidney.
Good morning, everyone. Go through my budget, requests for 2025, fairly similar to last year, but, I know our revenue lines are on there now. The top line is tax director miscellaneous revenue. That is just, if companies request our GIS information from year to year, we'll ask for a 3-year $500 donation, we call it. And some years we have those requests, some years we don't, so I didn't budget any revenue for that. Because we never know from year to year whether we're actually gonna get it or not. The second line, tax director assessing revenue, that is what we charge to contract out for townships and cities for our office to do the assessing, and typically we bring in around 15,000 a year in revenue. We did just increase the cost from $3 per parcel to $4 per parcel starting next year, so I'm estimating a revenue of 22,360 for next year. I believe we are also adding at least one more township for next year, so I included that in that number as well. So that is my forecasted revenue for the contracting that we do for 2025. Any questions on the revenue side? If not, as far as the expenses for our office, salaries were calculated based on Tanya's recommendation to start the budget process for myself, as well as April, the deputy tax director. Office supplies, I lowered from 2,000 to 1,000. I've never been spending 2,000 a year, so we could lower it to cut it in half, starting in 2025. Travel I left the same, as we've been using most of our travel budget for meetings, and also there getting to be more and more mileage for the inspections that our office is going out and doing, and I suspect that's gonna keep increasing as we start doing some reassessments here soon on residential property. Assessment expenses, I left the same. And miscellaneous expense, I guess the bottom three, I guess I should go on the explanation. Christie and I have been working, we had a capital outlay line in our budget in the past. It's just where everything has kind of been dumped into for like software maintenance and stuff called capital outlay. We felt that was kind of misleading. It's not for a project that we're trying to save up for, so Christie was kind enough to make a separate line there for software maintenance for me. And so I shifted what we used to call capital outlay to software maintenance, basically our Vanguard camera vision, but the software that our office uses our annual maintenance fees, and that is going up again this coming year. I'm estimating about $14,500 total for everything in 2025 with Vanguard. Part of that is I budgeted for that comp search that the city of Grafton is paid for. That's $650 annual fee. I budgeted for that, included in there. Assuming everything works out well with the city, but I want to make sure we have it covered, just in case we start utilizing that portion of the software by then, and we have to pay a share of it ourselves, as well as that website, that Vanguard website that I got the grant for to get up and running. There is a possibility that the maintenance for that for 2025 will be covered under that grant application, but I don't know that yet. So I included that amount in that 14,500 as well, so. Miscellaneous expenses, that's mainly what Sidwell charges us to run our ag land valuations every year, based on our land use market, soil types and that. That's the bulk of that, as well as a few other things. So overall, revenue would be forecast to be 22,360, and total expenses I came up with was 139,756.
Any questions for Ed?
Ed, do you expect to use the remainder of that capital outlay, that 85,000? That's left unused for 2024?
I think you're looking at
one line too low. The
Oh, excuse me, yes, I am.
that 13,550?
13,000.
Yes,
Okay.
our Vanguard, our annual fee for Vanguard isn't due till towards the end of the year, so
Okay.
I will be using that, yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Pretty straightforward.
I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Chugging along right along.
So what have we done with reserves
Yeah.
that have been left? You talked to them about what's been left in there?
As in,
I'm sure they're gonna use
Like,
it.
yeah, like say this capital outlay. No, I don't, okay,
no, it just goes right into,
Usually it rolls into the
it,
next year.
yep. Or into, County General's balances, what it is,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I think we just will adjourn to the next Call the meeting back to order. And we have Ron Jurgens, Walsh County Sheriff.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So. Tanya, finally got me some feedback on our budget proposal and she wants some revisions done on it first before I give it to you, so that is not ready. So we'll start with what we have, to start on the sheriff's office side. Do you guys have sheriff's civil process, is that where we're starting? Okay.
Yeah.
So these are my projections. It is, it's one of those, it's hard to project what they will be, but this is my projection for those numbers. They're pretty much right on from where they have been in the past. So that first page, unless you have any questions, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, so these are all the revenue ones that we've never really looked at before.
Right.
So,
Now they're, yes, now they are right here.
page
Thank you.
2 is where the.
Thank you for explaining that, yes.
Page 2 is where the expenses start.
Okay. There. Okay. Do we have a total revenue here?
No, because each one is technically something different.
Okay,
Each
Yeah,
has their
so
own
there's,
fund,
yeah,
so-
yeah. The only, I'm sorry, can I hit?
Yes, please.
That contract policing revenue, I don't know, Ron, if we wanna talk about that.
Okay, yeah,
You know, that's something that we've gone round and round about, you know, with the other towns and are we gonna continue to charge or do we increase the rate, whatnot?
so the contract policing is what we charge the towns for our services. For the sheriff's office services, and that's what that number, line item 3 is, at 31,326. We have not increased that for a while, and it has never been put in my budget before. It has always been put into the general fund, so, what do you guys want to do with that fund? Was my thought that we could use some of that money for, raises for if that's what you guys intend on doing, we could use this money for that. As a different revenue source. So,
It'd be logical to leave it with the police department.
Does it really matter if we don't leave it with you? It'll come out of the general fund anyhow, so I think I'd leave it in here so you can track it. Right?
well,
Right.
yes, so that was the thought, yes, to leave it here,
Yeah.
but
Then use it
use it for, yes, for increases for the
wages.
sheriff's office, if that's what you guys choose. There was a question about where you get the money. This is a place where you could get that money.
Will this amount cover the raises?
Well,
I mean, like you said, you don't really know yet.
I don't know yet.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I'm wondering, when you talk about rates, do you have any comparables from other sheriff departments as far as what they charge other towns? You know, if it's appropriate to increase or where we kind of are in comparison?
I really don't. I know some use it, some don't use it, right? It is it's something that was done long before I ever got here. This rate was used to supplement the budget, but then somehow it didn't get put into, or got put into the general fund, so I don't, but I could look into some of our surrounding counties and see what they do. I just, the rate, hasn't been raised for quite a while, and I know some of the towns are having trouble paying what we have, so, that was a reason why we left it where it was.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
So we know sitting here that we're paying more wages, we're paying more for gas and everything else, so, and I get it, cause didn't one drop out because they didn't think they
Yes.
could afford it, so where do we go?
Right, Fairdale dropped out, and
Yeah.
Adams dropped out, and then Adams came back after they found that there was benefit to have us, so. I know the small towns have the same issues that everybody else has with revenue, so that's kind of why we left it where it was, so just to explain that.
Okay.
How do you figure to charge each one? Is it a yearly contract? I don't remember.
It is a yearly contract, but some paid per month and then some paid yearly. It is it's $1.50 per person per month.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
how
it's
it's figured.
based on population.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's how it was, yeah. Calculated, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Madam Chairman?
yes.
May I ask a question? Christie, I have a question for you. Does it make it more difficult for you if we try to leave this in his budget, this contract policing for possible raises? Does that make it harder on your end?
Well, I mean,
Because to me, it's a wash.
yeah,
You know, regardless if we leave it in here or if we put it in general and we take it back out of general. My concern is, then we have every department come to us and say, well, you know what, I'm bringing in money, I want to use that money for raises. If we get to do that in the sheriff's office, you know. So we've got the highway department, they take in money for a few different things, right? Or they can all of a sudden say, well, we want to keep this little pot of money just for raises. We've got the tax director's office who brings in a lot of money for assessing. Are they gonna say, well, I wanna keep that pot of money for raise, you know, that's my concern, is that it's gonna get messy. You know, so to me, it's a decision of, can we afford the increases or not? Not so much that we leave this money right in the sheriff's department's budget, because it's, what difference does it make? I don't know, that's just where I'm coming from.
I would say, whatever makes it easier for the auditor, because like you said, it doesn't matter whether it's in here or not. You know, and our salary. You know, discussion will be coming up on page 2 here, so. I'd say whatever Christie thinks.
yeah, I mean, Ron and I can work through it.
Yeah.
At one point, we talked about this going for equipment even, or something, you know. At the very least, in the past, Ron never saw this money for anything, so. When the discussion first started, it was just like, well, maybe upgrading guns or upgrading this, knowing that this money is, it could be its own actual fund, a non-levy fund where, you know, just like any of these others that we're gonna go through with him, so,
I like that we can see what it brings in. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
If you put it in the general fund, will you label it like police contracting, so you know what comes out of there?
well, this is the general fund.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it's in the general fund now, it's just, it's easier to get
Yeah.
lost in here compared to if we did like a or police contracting, where you could see what's coming in and what's going out.
Yeah.
So it's lost more in the way it is right now, so, but for me, however you guys want it to work, we'll make it work. A non-levy fund is just as easy.
Well, we want you to know how to track it and to
Exactly,
make it easy
yeah.
for you, so if everyone agrees, we'll let you decide that.
But yeah, I know, I would be totally fine with creating a non-levy fund for this, specifically. And if
And
it's
it
not
would
for
still be in
salaries.
the sheriff's budget.
Correct,
So-
correct, yep, yep.
Okay. Any more question on that page 1? Okay,
So on the second page, then I've penciled in the increases in the salaries. Nothing other than the salaries have increased on that page.
So what you're showing us is just the 2% COLA and the step increase right
Correct.
now? Okay,
For the ones that are still in the step program,
they're still on, isn't everyone on the step program?
not when you exceed 20 steps.
Oh, well, you're still on the step program, but yeah, you don't get the step, right? Oh, gotcha.
You just don't
hit
get
the
stepped.
top. You hit the
Right,
top.
Right. Very, very true. So, that's everything on that page.
But you're expecting to bring something into it,
I am,
right? Tom
yes.
gets it to you?
Yes,
Right?
working on that, yes. If we go down to the third one, on the third page, the coroner's fees. I increased it to 2,500, and we talked a little bit about that the last time about coroner's fees. We had a bill for, I think, almost $1,800, that we just paid. So I increased it to 2,500, and I'm not sure that's gonna be enough, but it's kind of one of those funds, right, that you never know. And then I have increased the miscellaneous expense from 12,000, that's the fourth one down. Fifth one down, sorry, from 12,000 to 15. And then increased the next one down, radio share from 3,000 to 4,000. I've left the gas alone, and I know Jason's talked to you a little bit about replacing the pumps. If we didn't replace the pumps, there would have to be a major increase in our gas budget. If so, just an FYI there, I've not done anything with the gas for us. But buying it from the pump would be a major expense for our department also. Down under the next one that I increased is capital outlay, it's almost the very last one there. That is, we are on a 2-3-2-3, so every year it's either a 2 or a 3 vehicles we get.
Oh,
So this year is a 3 vehicle, and vehicles have gone up a lot. We're up to in the 20s to up the 50,000 range for vehicles now. So that is the vehicles plus the equipment for vehicles.
Madam Chairman.
Yes,
I know we don't like to do it because we get too behind, but is there some vehicles out there that we could probably squeeze the 2.2s? And I know we get backed up on it, but being they're going, I mean, they're, like you said, they're getting so high.
Yeah, as much as we can, we will be doing that. In fact, when I get a different vehicle, mine will be passed down to Bob. As much as we can, we will do that. We get a lot of miles on our
Yeah.
vehicles, some 50 to 60,000 a year. So, and with increased mileage, it comes increased problems with these vehicles. So 4 years is about what I want to keep them at. There are some vehicles we can keep longer, and we will. The spare vehicle that we're gonna have is one of them that I feel we can keep for a while longer. So yes, as much as I hate to squeeze too many miles out of there because we've had some extreme
Yeah.
problems with engines and transmissions, keeping them too long. So as much as we can, I'm already doing that. for
So
these.
most of these that let's say that we're doing now, replacing these 3, they're probably at 150, 175,000.
At least, yes.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's north of 150,000, most of them, yes.
We start toting prisoners around the state.
Yeah, yeah.
Your home for it, it's like. We can rack up a lot of miles in a short. How do you budget for that?
No.
Yeah, that's the quandary, yes. So that's what, the reason for that major increase there.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I'm just looking at last year's too, Ron, and
Yeah.
like with corners fees, I know you talked about it, it's a little unknown, but is it kind of almost in that every other year, cause we went down, you know, kind of decreased that, but is there a consistency with it that you're finding at all,
No.
or? Okay.
So a lot of the problems where I'm having is when, say I have a fatality out on the road, a vehicle accident where the person needs to be taken for an autopsy. And the ambulance takes them, that's where my major expense is coming from. It's costing me, about $2,000 to transport that body to UND, so, I'm trying to minimize as much as I can with that, but it's really, how do you tell, right? How can you plan for that? So, I'm gonna increase it to 2,500 and hopefully that's enough, but I'm not sure it will be.
So the coroner does have to come out to the scene or not, because can they transport, or, I mean, didn't,
So Doc Johnson is our coroner.
Okay.
And so most of the time he'll want to see them. He'll either go to they'll take him to the hospital or he'll come to the funeral home to see them sometimes. If they're getting an autopsy, he will not see them. The autopsy people will see him in Grand Forks, so this is really not, Dr. Johnson is not charging us for coroner fees. This is transportation costs.
and there isn't any room for potential negotiation? I mean, I know how much it costs for ambulances to transport, but because of what they're doing, I mean, it's.
I've talked. One of the ambulance services is willing to, and then one of them is not, so. I've tried to talk as much as I can. But we're still working on some of that, so I'm not sure. I'm trying to work on ways of minimizing the cost. The funeral director, his fees to transport a body is a lot less than an ambulance, and so as much as we can, we're having the funeral director take them, so that helps with some of it. And there's just some areas where we need to have the ambulance take them, so.
and
So,
it is, you know, they're charging for gas too, I mean, and they're trying to be out of the area, so.
But it should be one, right? I mean, they don't need two people to transport to the coroner's office. I just think of what does a funeral director do? It'd be nice if it, as a service to the county, to not gouge us
Well,
to transport a body.
Are there two people in it?
I'm just saying there shouldn't be.
there's a normal crew in
Okay.
there,
Okay.
so.
Maybe if that ambulance runs, they gotta have more than one.
Yeah,
I don't
could be
know.
two.
Yeah, I don't know what their rules are.
Yeah, I mean, for a service, we have to have $2,500 seems
I'm still
not
surprised,
that much though, so.
I'm still surprised that it's charged to the taxpayers and it's not charged to the family.
Well, sometimes it can't be either, so.
I'm still working with Kelly on that part of it too, so
Right.
I'm looking into that,
Okay,
Okay, good.
so
thank you.
that's, so with raises in that, like comes to a 7% increase in the sheriff's office.
Wait, you said with raises,
With the raises,
but we
yes,
still don't really know what
correct,
the raises are.
with the ones that I plugged in,
Yeah,
yes,
will you be giving us a separate sheet when you
I will,
bring that?
yes.
And with a comparison, yeah, okay.
When do you expect to have that one?
I don't like to have it done already, but it just, I hope I can have it this week yet. So if we want to move on to the, does anybody have any questions on the sheriff's office? If we move on to the jail. Okay, I'll move on to the jail. If you look at the second one, overtime, we're in that cycle, right, with not having enough workers, so we're using more overtime, so I've increased the overtime from 30,000 to 35,000. That is the only increase on that first page, other than the salary increases. We go to the next page then. Nurse for the jail, you can see that's been increased dramatically, and I talked to Alan and Joelle about some of the needs in the jail, and we all agree that we need a nurse more than we have them currently. We have some very medically needy inmates and that are requiring more time from a nurse. So it was Alan's suggestion, and I absolutely agree that we increased the nurse from that 23,000 to the 56,000, so it'd be 2/3 time in the jail instead of 25%.
Madam Chairman.
Yes,
So this would be a consideration of if you don't have her, you're transporting to the clinic or the ER more often.
Correct.
So this is a more proactive approach is the goal.
It is. And it would, currently the nurse is not on med passes. This would have them be in on 2 of the 3 med passes. So it will help us not only with cutting down on those calls to the doctor, but also on the med side of it too, which is everybody has 5 to 6 meds, and it's very hard to keep up with. So Joelle's spending a lot more time than a quarter of her time in the jail, and to be fair to the health district, we need to pay for our fair share of what we're using. So that's what that increase is. And if we're moving towards a new jail, we're gonna have to think about that anyway, so. We me and Alan and Joelle and Adam sat down and had a lengthy conversation about it, and we all agree that that's the best step to take.
And Madam Chair, I would encourage if there's a way to track any way of costs, when you look at transport costs and what it entails at the clinic for the ER or any of those, because I've told Joelle or even you know, a friend of mine, she's in Minot at the jail, she's an NP, and she pretty much functions as their provider for that jail, and so. You know, you look at that cost, but then you have to, it'd be good to have some data backing to say, this is how much we save, because it's a lot to bring people in for every little thing.
Yes, and that's what we're currently doing, yes.
And Chairman,
yes.
so do we pay for all the meds too then, the county?
So we use the Medicaid system, the state passed the Medicaid for the jails, because currently if they're in jail, any Medicaid or anything that they're on stops when they go to the jail. So the state has a jail Medicaid program that we're enrolled in. We run the claims through them and then they bill us, so yes, we are. Paying for the meds, but on a reduced rate through Medicaid. Meds are another cost, right, to having inmates, and it's,
Not going away.
we are trying to minimize that cost through running through the Medicaid program and having them, takes off quite a chunk.
So the inmates aren't responsible for any of those?
That's correct.
Well, when they're in jail, they're not working. So. That's the.
It's a cost of
Yeah,
having the inmate in jail, yes. Some of the
but I agree.
Some of the meds that, the Tums and the Tylenol and that stuff, they have started. Charging them for, but prescription costs are our responsibility. So, yes. That's the only other, I talked to Christie about the employee benefits. That we moved that out of there and put it into, the other employee benefits. Back in the day, the jail had its own taxing authority and that's why it was in there, was left in there. Christie and I both agree that it would probably be easier to have it all in one area, not in the separate, so that's why that was taken out.
Any questions about the corrections?
So for the jail, it's a 3% increase, the jail budget. Ready to go to the truck rate expenses if everybody's ready to move on with me. If you have any questions about the jail? Okay. This year we're buying that new vehicle, so the 2025 is just some, we need to put a body cam and a recording device in that vehicle, so that's what that is, and just his increase of his salary from Pembina County. If you remember, Pembina County pays the expenses and bills us for half, so that's why you only see that part of it. This would be our projected half of those expenses.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
How's our vehicle doing there? We replaced it a couple of years ago, didn't we?
We are just replacing it, this year.
Okay.
We're moving to a 3/4 ton pickup instead of the expeditions and just didn't hold up to, the weight that they have to carry, so. We decided to try the high patrol model and use a 3/4 ton pickup, so that's. See how that holds up.
That seems like the drastic, big change from a
It is.
expedition to a 3/4.
It is. But in theory, that'll help us, with the pull-out tray, that'll help us save some of the potential, injury, to our worker too, by, lean in and grab those out of there and,
Oh, yeah.
so, yeah, hopefully it'll, in the long run, will save us some money, but we'll see. Well, that's all I have for the truck rate. Anybody have any questions for me on that?
Madam Chairman?
Yes,
So you have one vacant in the correctional center, right? Is that right?
That is correct.
Salary is not.
We have a high school student that is working part-time in the jail, to fill that spot temporarily. So, before they go to college, so we'll give them 3 to 4 months before they enroll in college, but it is maybe something that we need to look at for the future, is getting some part-time positions available for, have some flexibility and maybe some summer help or whatever, but it's really worked out well. The person we have, we wish we could keep, but it's been a good thing for us, so.
So they're interested in law enforcement, I assume?
Yes. So
Great.
gives them a little glimpse into that part of it. It's nothing we've tried before, but desperation brings different measures, and it's really worked out well for us so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the Park River one, if the Park River budget. And like it says above there, Park River pays for 100% of the costs for our Park River deputies, so. And we currently have an opening for a deputy in Park River, that's why you'll see that one. Is still, has no name on it, so. When I did increase, if you go down to uniforms, equipment and travel and training. Other than salaries, those were my only increases on that. Also, Christie, we talked about putting in a travel and training line item in the budget too. That would be an increase too. And we've never been able to track the expenses that we have for, as you know, the correctional officers have to be trained by the trained, and we have no in-house training, so we send them to other jails to be trained. It is usually a 2-week program. One of those weeks is usually online, but the other week is in person, so it's the motel rooms and the per diem while they're gone, so. I asked to have that included so we can track some of that, the travel and training part of it. And that's was increased. Decided we would put 5,000 in there and just see where we're at with that. It's a new line item, so I think that's something that we needed to track in the jail, so I apologize for not remembering that. We're in the jail one.
Okay,
That was in the jail. We're in Park River one, but I wanted to go back to the jail quickly for that, just to let you know that is a new line item.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
did you say that one of these top 2 in Park River are vacant?
Yes, the very top one. So the
D,
4401,001
Okay.
is
there's no
vacant.
name, shouldn't be a name after it
There
then.
should not be a name.
Gonna update that right now.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We currently have 2 openings. One at the sheriff's office and one in Park River.
When you're opening statewide.
We get the notice and it's 85 to 100 on every daily basis, so. And it's one of those deals that we can look at it and our employees look at it too, right? So.
Competitive.
So with those increases in Park River, it was a 4% increase for the Park River budget.
Yes,
And I was unaware, so I don't know if you guys were, well, Park River does reimburse us for 100% of this, right?
They do.
Yes, yeah, so 2095 after we run payroll and that, we send the city of Park River a bill and they pay us for all of the payroll related expenses as well, so.
It has been a very good partnership with the city of Park River to have. It benefits us and it certainly benefits them, so it's really been a good partnership for the sheriff's office down deputy station in Park River.
And station right downtown, I mean, your location, I think is a really good one too.
That's all I have in my budget unless anybody has any questions. So the next page is more, these are revenue funds, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, non-levy funds that. I don't have to spend a ton of time on them. They're just in and out accounts.
This, after the commissary, the next page is the state grant is the seatbelt overtime, the speeding overtime, the DUI overtime that Vision Zero pays us to work some of those programs, so that is what that comes from.
Madam Chair, yes, I'm sorry, I asked that back the blue, that is not for 2025 or we're not?
Yes,
It is.
no, we're.
Well, no, 2024, right? It was just for 12
Oh,
months.
One year.
you're exactly right. It's for the calendar year of 2024.
Okay.
Yes,
So no, we don't know if it'll be in 2025 or the answer is no.
we do not know.
Oh,
that was a one-time funding so far.
And it originally started up as a $5 million and it got, the bill passed for 3.5. And they included correctional officers in there, which they should truly be included. I'm not denigrating the money, but it turned out to be like $1,200 for the month or for the year. So you break that up in each check, right? It's not a lot, when you, I love the thought of it. It just, I'm not sure it's gonna turn out to be as big of a, way of keeping people in law enforcement. And I don't know what that amount would be, but it didn't turn out to be as much as we had hoped as administrators, so.
That's a state program?
That is, it was a bill that passed through the state, so yes. The next pages are Stone Garden program, so that's the in and out for there. And then just some miscellaneous ones that we have. That's kind of what my budget looks like until I bring you that updated, salary proposal. Which we're working with Tanya to get that back, so, like I said, I hope to have that done yet this week, so I'll get it to you as soon as I can.
Okay,
That's all I have unless somebody has questions for me.
So these other tabs we have, Christie, then it's all compiled into one
Into
now?
one now,
Okay.
yes, we can change that going forward, if you guys would rather have it changed back, or,
I love this, that they're all in one
Just
spot.
keep
I'm good with that, yeah, I'm fine with that.
okay.
I
The
just
only,
wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something in here.
the only bad thing is it's harder to, label if they're county general funds or not, but, you know, the yellow, but.
It's for you to really.
Yeah, the 1,000 you guys know now is county general, the twos are not, so.
Okay, well,
We're pretty squarely county general.
Yeah.
okay, we will then recess for just a little bit. Okay. We'll bring the meeting back to order and we'll have the auditor treasurer report. Budget.
Perfect. I think let's start with, just at the front, the commissioner budget. Which will be your very first tab. So that one's pretty easy. I just did a, the 2% increase for the 2025 requests for the, salaries. That's not on the sheet that, Tanya gave us, but looking back, that's what we did last year, so I just continued with that. Travel, I left travel the same, at 9,000. And then dues and miscellaneous expenses, I did increase that. We are, our workers' comp and our county membership, those both went up by a ton last year. I'm only anticipating it'll go up again, and that's why I raised it $2,500. I can't remember, I'll look quick. But the one thing on travel that I wanted to just bring up in conversation for 2025, so as we've been trying to work through the, how you guys are getting paid for your mileage. We've asked a lot of the other counties and typically the counties are not paying mileage for the 2 meetings a month. We are here, so that's just one thing I was gonna throw out there. I was very shocked that other counties were not charging. Mileage is for anything outside of those 2 meetings. Because their thought is when you guys are running for commissioners, you guys understand that it's 2 meetings a month. And then that where the courthouse is located, that's my understanding on that. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other, I just figured I would mention what other counties are doing on that. I didn't decrease it because of that, I kept it the same. But the county dues for 2024 was over $10,500 for the NDSCO county dues. Yeah. So that was $10,000 and then it looks like about $1,700 for the county commissioner dues. And then there was one more, about $1,300 for another one that was also NDACO. So that's why I increased it a little bit, just because of those things. So totaling $146,605 for that one.
So are those NDACO dues just for commissioners, you're saying? Or the whole county?
The whole.
All the county employees?
That is, yes, one of the dues that is countywide.
Okay,
Yeah, and then the $1,700 one is just the commissioner.
right, that one I
Yeah,
understood, but.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The association dues, that's based on, is that based on our population? I can't remember.
I don't know for sure how that one is figured out. I don't know.
Biggest thing to see is a county, how much we pay for dues.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I do not have that with me. But, yeah, I can look back at that and get you guys that after, how that's figured out.
Any more questions about the commissioner's budget? Okay,
And the next one is the auditor treasurer one. I put them on one page now that we're combined, but still kept them separated by fund. We can always adjust that down the road. I just wasn't sure where we wanted to go with that yet, so. So salaries, we just did the 2% and the steps, that Tanya provided to us. The fourth line, the office supplies auditor, so I moved that, that was budgeted $3,000. I moved that to miscellaneous expenses. From time to time, we'll need something, new printer or whatnot. So I didn't really want it as office supplies because I added office supplies as a county general line separately. But all of our equipment is, you know, Chris was very resourceful and she, you know, everything, there's things that are gonna start going bad. So I just wanted something built into our budget for that. Dues went up, for the Association of Counties. It looked like they were gonna be between $500 and $600 for 2025, up from 250. Travel, I kept the same, at $2,500. I'm not sure where the conference is going to be next year, but this year it's in Fargo, so that'll definitely help our budget. Having us just being in Fargo. And then the treasurer's line items, same thing, I just did the 2%. The office supplies for the treasurer, that was budgeted $4,500 for 2024. I moved that again to miscellaneous. They did have a miscellaneous line. So totaling between the office supplies and the miscellaneous, it was about $7,000. I did not feel that we needed that much. I went with 4,000 again. Their printers are probably older than ours even. The auditor's office has been starting to update, because Microsoft, Word, I believe it's, 10, I believe it's 10. Some of our printers in the auditor's office weren't compatible with the last update. So we were forced to update some of those. Dues again, 600. I don't know now that they are, I believe this week we're voting on combining the treasurer's auditors association. And I don't know if we do that, if we'll only have to pay one set of dues or not. I wasn't sure, so I just added 600 for that as well. And it might not pass either. I don't know what'll happen this week. So then the county treasurer, I have that budget $105,528.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
So for travel budget as well, Chrissy, so there's just Linda in the treasurer's department beyond that you're overseeing that, or is?
And NASA.
Okay,
Yep, NASA. So NASA's coming with, to the auditor and treasurer conference this week. Yep. So I feel that, it would be nice, to always bring somebody along, one way or the other. Mainly networking. I'm really looking forward to NASA getting to meet some auditor treasurers this week to get some of that. So yeah, so, you know, they won't always be coming with, but it would be nice to have an option to bring somebody with. Some of the counties have 3, 4, 5 employees coming for the conference, so.
Yes.
Did they give you a reason why the dues on both the treasurer and auditor more than doubled? That's a drastic
yeah.
increase.
The recorder's office, or the recorder's conference, they voted to increase it. It sounded like once they increase theirs, everybody's will follow.
So they don't really give you an excuse, they just voted and increased it.
Yeah, the reporters did, yeah. I suppose because it's costing more for conferences and whatnot, you know, for them to put all that.
Usually when you double something, there should be an excuse.
Yeah, no, they did, I don't think that we just got an email stating that they increased theirs by up to 500. And I would assume we'll vote on ours this week here, but. Yeah. And I did, you know, there's some things that they're doing this week that you had to pay out of pocket. It wasn't even included in the conference. So there, it's, you know, the money doesn't go a long way anymore, you know, but
No,
so,
well,
yeah, that's that. But
you could have all business and no fun, I guess.
that's right, exactly.
Any questions for the auditor treasurer budget? Okay,
Then the next tab we'll go to is the miscellaneous tab.
which is in the back.
It's no, in the middle there, and one of the last ones. In the yellow. Ready? Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with utilities courthouse. You know, just basing it off of what we adopted for 2024 and where we're sitting on expenses for this year. And I did that, of course, last year's as well. I didn't really feel like I needed to increase anything. I actually, the LEC building, last year we budgeted 33,000 and I'm thinking we can get away with 30,000 for 2025. As well as the extension office, we went, so in 23 it was 8,000, we only spent 6,500. We adopted 10,000 for 24. We so far have only paid 3,500. Granted, it's not winter yet or anything like that, but I thought we could maybe get away with going to 9,000 on that one. So total utilities was 110,500. I know that in conversations with Jason, Jason would like this fund line to be included in his budget. Because these buildings and grounds, so he feels that utilities go hand in hand with that. It was just so last minute that we didn't have a chance to do anything with that, so. I don't know if it will stay under me or if going forward, it'll be in Jason's. Budget line.
Why would he want it? I'm just curious as to, I mean, it's just here, it's less. He's got a full page,
Yeah,
it's not a hard budget to manage.
no, I don't know, he just, he thought it would fit better, with his. And that was my thought too, and that's what I told him, it doesn't hurt it sitting right here, right now, so that's just a conversation that might happen down the road, but. Pretty self-explanatory on, so. I'm not sure if it would paint a better picture for him down the road either, so. That could change.
But these, excuse me, these are just paid, no, nothing comes out of them if it's, you don't have extra, I mean.
No,
So.
no, it's just the utilities, yep, strictly utilities, yep. Then we'll go to the, election expenses.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
yes,
Yes,
the building repair maintenance odd years,
yeah,
is that the floors here or is it?
no.
It isn't? Okay.
No, that's in building design grounds. That's why I don't understand why we, had $35,000 budgeted in 2023 for building repair. I think it just went back to not understanding exactly what the budget process should be. It was always, the election, if it wasn't an election year, you would put it into the buildings line, but nothing was getting spent anyway, so I just don't feel comfortable doing that anymore. The only thing, the election expenses, you guys, that you guys all have to give me direction on that. As you can see, the election is extremely expensive. Our preliminary, or I'm sorry, the primary, we budgeted $38,000 and we've already spent 35,000 of that.
Well, I guess we have 2,500 left.
We got 2,300 left, that's all we have left, yeah, so, I don't know what the expense, they went through a different vendor. And I don't know if that's the reason why it was such an increase, but,
When you say they, who's that?
the state.
The state?
Yeah, the state, yeah, so everything was dictated by the state, the vendors. Only thing that we had control over, of course, postage goes up and we're an election, mail county, so. I don't remember how many thousands of dollars we've spent in postage. And then the other thing that is so expensive is putting it in the paper. There's so many things that have to be advertised, and those expenses are, I mean, it's a couple $1,000s a month in those bills. So I bet you a third of that is between postage and what is required to go in the newspaper. So then election expenses for next year, I haven't heard one way or the other yet on how that's gonna go. So I just put 1,000, but if there's going to be an election in 2025, I need direction on that, because I think that will certainly have to go up. The building repairs, though, I just kept at 5,000, because we have county general miscellaneous too, if something were to happen. But there never has been a schedule on what happens with that $35,000 for me to pick up and go with, so.
Can that be moved? Can that be taken out of there?
It very well could, yeah,
Maybe that's-
exactly.
How do you, is it like, well, we're at budget, oh yeah, we have this money here,
Yeah,
I mean,
Is that something Jason looked at when you say buildings and grounds? That he?
I don't know, yeah, exactly, I don't understand why there's a whole nother line for that. If it was more for this, that fund of 4170, if back in the day it was just kind of like a fund holder, but that's not really how the budgeting should be
It
done,
shouldn't be done. and I wonder what the 10,000 then was spent on. For 2023 actual,
I'll take a look right now.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to.
why have all these different funds?
I agree.
Keeping that in that.
I couldn't keep track of them.
And it is nice to have a lot of funds to be more detailed, so it's easier to budget, but when you're not using them for that reason.
Yeah,
I just didn't feel like I could make the decision to get rid of it, but I clearly, if history repeated itself, I should have increased it to 35,000. And I just didn't feel right doing that because
We can't have money just sitting there and not,
right,
we don't even
For no
know,
reason.
forget it's there.
exactly. So let me look to see what was. So that was even, that 10,000 was in our old system, so let me log into the old system and look real quick.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
another thing I'd like to see while you're in there
Mhm.
is in 2022, we had election year. What was that compared to the 24 at 38,000? And we're gonna be short?
In 22,
Yeah, because that would have been a major election year too.
Right.
Be just curious to see. I don't remember.
let me look here. So it looks like that,
What do you say?
10,000
State.
Yeah.
was, pews in courthouse.
Oh, but then,
That's such an odd spot.
Yeah, and I thought that if that was a grant that paid that.
well, we got part of it with a grant,
Oh.
part of it. So we just decided to take it out of there. Jeez,
I would try to get buildings and ground all in one if you
I
could.
think so. Yeah, benches, like you can call them benches like this. Yeah, right.
Say you have a few.
Church.
So you go confess.
So in 2022, the election expense was 35,000
Okay, so you're happy.
267.
That's a big-
Total for the whole year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
now we've already spent it already.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I can look to see, maybe there's some of the, publications that should be going somewhere else, or postage should be going into actually postage. But we have been, we've been quoting
Mhm.
election, and maybe in the past they never did that. But yeah,
That's true, yeah.
so we can look to see how that is. Only good thing about the general is, there's only 2 ballots that we'll need. We won't need, I think we need 13 different ballots
Oh, for the primary.
in the primary.
Because of,
Different,
Yeah,
yeah, the cities and stuff. So now it'll just be, we'll just have 2. We'll have District 20 and District 19, so.
so should we move the building maintenance thing to something else? Right now?
Unless we wanna switch that and just put it into county general miscellaneous.
Yeah, wherever you think, I mean,
So just change the title from building.
There's a
Yeah.
Miscellaneous, county general miscellaneous that
to make it easier and then you know where it is.
just get rid of it altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally
Is that
fine
okay
with
with you
that.
guys? Okay.
Yeah,
So are we zeroing it out then, or are you moving that 5,000 into another budget?
so on the next page, I do have a miscellaneous county general. And it was 15,000 and I moved it up to 20,000. Just cause we'll probably use it more, but, that would
Make up for it.
make up for that unless we wanna increase it a little bit more.
I wouldn't.
But yeah, I think we're
Moving fine.
Yep,
yeah, we'll just drop the 5.
okay.
How about the election expenses? Do you guys want me to increase that?
Well, that you would have to increase then for 2026
So this is 25.
though.
Mm-mm.
No,
No, it'll be
Oh, yeah, but
25.
25 wouldn't be a big election year, so
No,
your expenses would be way down.
Mm,
What about?
Yeah, but-
the
So special, the special,
election?
oh, yes,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
so that I wasn't sure
yes.
when I was filling that out, what the plan is on that one, if we're gonna plan on doing.
Can you find out a little bit more how much it could possibly cost?
It'll be about that, it's, you
It
know.
wouldn't matter.
Only thing that it'll say is there won't be any, programming that'll have to get done, because they'll have to be paper ballots.
Yeah.
And then we'll need more people to count ballots, because they won't go through tabulators.
Yeah, okay.
So I would expect it to be at least the 35,000 for the special, so. But I wasn't sure where that's sat, so I didn't do anything with
Do you
that.
have any guesstimate what the general one will cost us this fall? Cause that's gonna add to the 35 or 34, whatever.
Well, so all of the applications have already been sent.
Yes.
So the big expense was sending, about 5,000 applications out. And we don't have to do that for
Okay.
the, November one. It'll just be the ballots. And I could look, but I bet we have maybe 2,000 ballots that need to go out only, so that's about a little bit more than $1,000 for that.
Okay,
And then just to order the ballots,
So could we use those applications for the special too?
No.
it's a different year. So we'll have to send out all new applications. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if we can get away with, just having polling locations. But then, you know, then I got how to change that from a mail ballot county. But I don't think we want polling locations in every
No,
No,
community.
no,
anyway,
we
you
need
know.
to just keep it the way it is. I don't know
Exactly.
that.
I don't think it would save any money is my
No.
point, is, you know, trying to save money, it would not.
I don't think we've done that for any special.
I don't know when you guys have done a special election.
Yeah, I've never,
the only specials we done was our mill increase, and that's done on the regular, you know.
Yeah, it
election.
wasn't a special election, no, it was on the ballot already.
Did one, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's,
yeah, it still was on the same.
That's on their
It
stuff.
wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, like this would be, I think it would confuse people more if we said we're gonna have to do
yeah.
everything at the courthouse,
Mhm.
so.
So do you wanna leave it at 35 for
24, 25?
25, or do you wanna increase it a little bit?
I think 35,000 would be, I mean, fine,
Fine, okay.
I mean. We can assess it later, but I think that is. Gonna be
So-
fine, there'll be more manpower that we'll have to pay
For election expense.
for election expenses.
Cross that 1,000 out and put 35?
Yeah, I think so, if that's what, we're leaning towards, then I think 35 should get us where we're at. Yeah. So then that will leave that fund. I'll get rid of the odd maintenance, so then we'll just leave that at, 35,000 for that fund. The next is state fire and tornado. Everything is going up, especially insurances. So we have not received our bill yet for 2024, but I anticipate, an increase, so I just went 15,000. It's a 10%-ish increase on that one. Copier paper. This one's always a hard one for me, because seems like a lot of money is being spent on copier paper, or not used mainly. I don't mind it if we're using it, but, in 2023, it was $2,500. I mean, I think that 1,500, we cut it down to 1,500 for 24. I say, let's leave it at that, for one more year and see where we're sitting,
Yeah.
and then go from there. I think, was my thought on that one.
Yeah, we don't need to stop.
Yeah, postage meter expensive, the meters are just, that meter is just getting to be more and more expensive. And then as well as postage is included in this, so it's postage and meter.
So can I ask, how
Yes.
much do you guys use yours? You know, like Katie was saying, she doesn't use it much anymore, and I know when I worked for FSA, we got to be the same way. Do you guys use it much?
We do, yeah,
You do.
especially with the 3-year delinquent taxes,
Yeah,
that
you do.
blends out, everything has to be certified in that, so yeah, we do.
Okay.
And all of the
curious.
courthouse is using it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then like the state, they'll come down and use it and then they pay for their postage as well. So
Okay,
I can't remember what the monthly rate is for the meter. But a lot of the expense really ends up being the postage. I'm trying to get a lot of the entities, so we mail out entity payments, receipts each month. The new system will send them like a direct deposit. So I've been sending out letters stating, you don't wanna go paperless on this. So we're trying, it doesn't always work on townships and stuff though, cause they don't have their own email address or the personal one. So, I don't think we can get away with not, but we are trying to,
Reduce it.
yeah, figure out ways to keep that postage down.
Are you locked, or like when it comes to stamps, just when we're talking about pricing going up, do we have a rate, are you rebuy, or can you?
No, so we're metered, so we do get a discount with the meter,
Sure.
yep, so, but then we'll pay like $5,000 at a time and put it on our fund and then just bring it over, but. So when the postage goes up, yeah, we don't have forever stamps, you know, we're just putting money on the account, but metered, we do get it as.
That's about $2,700 a month,
The,
yeah,
yeah, no,
2666 a month,
I was
supposed to be metered.
look here.
They're expensive,
Huh?
they're expensive.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna have to go get that sleeping bag.
I told her.
I got an old blanket in my.
Isn't it? I know, I agree. Yeah, so it's about, yeah, there's $600-700 in postage expenses. So we'll definitely watch that, and our machine isn't anything fancy either, you know, it's not like it's top of the line or anything like that, so. But, yeah. So the price, I just went up to 32,000 on that one. And then on to page 2. So that fund, 4191 is the middle number. So that's where I was saying the miscellaneous county general, it's just. We went, so in 23, it was 25,000, it's way off because that was where the snow removal, that refund check went into. We adopted 15,000 last year, and I increased it to 20,000. We've already spent 11,000 of that so far this year, and I was gonna look to see. I looked last night, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, there's nothing really big, notary fees. Oh, if we have, a bill from that, Guardian, is it Guardian in Litem? Yep, that's where that money comes out of. We've already had 2 of those this year, so
In
that
which one?
in the county general, miscellaneous county general.
Okay.
We've already spent about $3,000 in, fees, lawyer fees for that this year. But the rest of the stuff is all small, notary stamp, stuff like that. We are doing. I did buy, caged shelves for the election ballots and that. That's gonna come out of here, so that they can be locked at all times.
Yep.
And then within the vault, so I am gonna take that out of the miscellaneous county general for that one. Because that changed once the vault, became a active shooter, location for first floor, so.
It's a good idea anyway to have all that secure.
Without a doubt,
I mean, the guy who came to do the thing, I'm sure he was be happy or was
Mhm.
happy that we.
Yep, exactly. The half mil self-help, it's been 10,000. We went down to 8,000 because not all of the cities are participating in it. But we've already had 8,000. I don't know with JDA being so active now, if more cities will end up doing it for 2025. So I did increase it to 10. I have no problem if we drop it back down to 8 to save a little bit there. The next line, that's a new line as well, the North Dakota Career Builders Loan Repayment Fund. So that is a program that if any, I believe is it JDA or, yeah. So they're really pushing that, which is great, but we didn't have anything budgeted or a line item for it. So I did put 750. It doesn't mean that it's gonna get used, and I have no problem not even having a budget for it. But it would be nice to have that broken out instead of throwing it into a county miscellaneous fund or whatever, just so we see what we're using on that. So I did put 750, but
I thought we had someone participating in that.
We did, yes,
Oh.
this year, 2023. So I'm afraid it'll just become more popular as we go now that one did. Did you have something?
I was just wondering how the funds were used for that, but you said that to have that line item in, if we were to have someone participate in that from.
Yes,
Got it.
yep,
Okay.
so we can just take it out of that line item, so we know what's being expensed for that. The next one, pop machine courthouse, I zeroed that out again, I don't handle that, so I don't know why it was ever in our line items, so I am not requesting anything for that. The beautification project, I did increase double that, so that is for the flowers out front from that, and $250 for flowers doesn't go very far anymore at all. So, there's also, when we need a new flag, they like to take it out of that fund as well. And they're buying a new flag at least a couple times a year, so, I did increase that to $500. Same with the employee appreciation, fund. It's been 2,000. We have over 60 employees, so it's hard for a meal to go under 2,000, so I did raise it to 3,500.
Well, if someone gets an award, that comes out of here also.
Correct, yep, any of those plaques or any of that stuff as well, yes. Yes, well, I don't know what the $300 expense already this year was. Oh, that was the deposit for the community center, the $300. The historical society, I just kept that at 5,000, I believe that's what they requested too. Insurance payments, so this one's hard because our workman's comp premiums went up, you guys, Chris about fell over when she saw it. It was unbelievable how much workman's comp went up. As well as our blanket insurance policy that we have.
Was it because we used it?
The workman's comp?
Yeah.
No, it's just the whole state as a whole, it all went up. So when Jason was showing you guys those dividends, they had sent out the email to all of us about how, show the commissioners how much you save using this. It's like, that didn't even cover.
The increase.
No, I was just like, oh my gosh, who do they think they're kidding? No, it did not. Yeah, it was like $35,000. So just county general probably was over $50,000 in workman's comp premiums for 2020.
Increase.
Yeah, 24, and then
Well, do they increase the whole state then because of
as a whole, and like,
Because of what, the usage.
So if somebody else uses it more, we're paying for it.
We're paying for it too,
Yeah.
so well,
Yeah.
it's the way insurance is.
yeah, exactly. And then, percentage of risk. So, they increased the, like the sheriff's department, their percentage, because there's obviously more risk now. And yeah, it was eye-opening when I saw that. Same with our insurance policy, it's like over $140,000. So just between those two, it's $190,000 this year that.
Higher.
So I went to 215, but again, we can always cut that down a little bit. The next line, office supplies, county general, that's that new line that I, added. I did $6,000 for the courthouse for the year. I was hoping that would be, because that's pulling from other fund lines, so it's just rearranging the funds. Human resource contract, 12,500. I wasn't sure, what kind of an increase, there would be there. And then the next line would be the planning and zoning. With everything that's going on, we've always been doing just 1,000, but with everything that's going on with planning and zoning, I figured at some point, we're gonna have to rewrite the policy or the plan. Which I would assume is an added expense, so I did increase that to 2,000. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but hopefully the next year. So that leaves the county general miscellaneous 275,250. And then go on to printing and publishing. That's just for putting the minutes and the bills in the newspaper. And that is extremely expensive to do. I increased it to 15,000. I'm hoping that, I noticed that the year-to-date is really low. I have to look at that because I know that it's a lot higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost $1,500 at least a month in that. County audit, so we have not had an audit in 2 years. I've been working with the state audit department. I was working with another company as well. I see Heath Erickson, he's my contact at the state audit department, and he's on the agenda for this week, so I'm gonna go and visit with him and push it because we need it and
See how far they're behind?
yeah, see how far they're behind. I probably a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now, I spent over an hour on the phone with him going over and their office is so far behind, but he was anticipating to get to us by the end of this year to do them both. Cause we'll have 2 years. The one good thing, like he said, the previous year was still in the old system. So that one should be fairly easy. It'll be the next one. So that 40,000 is just what it has been in the past. We didn't spend any of that for 23. So knowing that we're gonna have to pay it twice, hopefully this year. So I left that at 40,000, job service, unemployment, our rates are low for unemployment. So, it was at 2,023, we dropped it down to 200, we've yet to use it. So I just dropped it to 150. Anything can happen. I know that we've had some people using our unemployment. I don't know how quickly that rate increases or not. And then life insurance, basic premium, that's at 28 cents that we pay, the county pays for, each employee's premium. So that leaves us at 450. And then page 3, this is the housing authority. I just kept that at $35 a meeting, for all of them. So that was fairly easy, adding it, up to $2,100. And then the county general health insurance expenses. On Wednesday, I did get an email from ND Fit. And they are forecasting our increase 2.97%.
What?
I know, I emailed her back and I said, are you serious?
Did they hear that we're thinking about leaving them?
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Yes, no, so I emailed her back and I said,
Yay.
just so I understand correctly, 2.97%, and she said, as long as there's no big changes on our end, if we keep it all the same, it's a 2.97% increase. So, I was very happy with that.
So we'll be under what we budgeted for 24 then.
Yeah, because we
Almost
had no
50,000.
idea, we had no idea where we were, what we're gonna do. And I look back on it's about $45,000 a month in health insurance premiums. That's,
45,000 per month.
yeah. On the high end, it's more 40,000. So that's why I went to 550,000 on that. Just because. I mean. A lot can change, you know, just one employee that was a single and ends up with a family, you know, it's a big difference, so. But I tried to keep it.
It's a big expense, but it's a nice recruiting tool too, that we do have a good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Madam Chairman. Yes, so this is the ND fit, so if we were gonna look into other plans, we would risk the check, I mean, that, this is kind of a lock-in for that one specifically.
Correct, yes, but their rate, I mean, their rates are high, so there is a chance that, this committee could find something with lower,
I think we need to still.
without a doubt.
Looking,
Mhm.
but that's a really pleasant surprise.
I agree, cause I can't remember what it was last year.
July 12th?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say,
And then
with
we
the
had,
change.
no, with the chains, then we got it down to like 5%, wasn't it? It was going to be 12, but the year before it was like 12 or 13.
Okay,
So
maybe
2
that's.
years in a row, you're
Yes.
getting hit hard.
Yes,
And they, when we joined them, they said there would probably wouldn't be many increases.
Right.
We got banged right away,
yeah,
and it's usage.
yes, and people dropping out, not realizing that this trust is as good of a deal for those that aren't using it. That's where it sounded like a lot of the issues were, a lot of the schools and that we're pulling out of it. So it's not self-funded. It is through the premiums, so, so that's, I just got that on Wednesday, so I was happy about.
Did you share that with Tanya?
I have not had a chance
Okay,
yet.
if you have a chance,
Yes.
because she's heading up this committee.
Yeah, and there's a webinar that they are sending me the link for, that I was gonna send to you and Tanya, so you guys can listen to that as well, so.
I think I went to all the commissioners last year. I know we all got that
That
link,
is-
so.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was when we were talking about changing, yes,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, I'll send it to you. I looked again last night and I did not have the link yet, so, as soon as I get that, I'll send it to you guys. Flexible spending benefits, I just set that at 600, that is just to participate in that, they call it WEX now, but Discovery Benefits, we have to have a contract with them. So that is just strictly so that our employees can belong to that. Employee assistance program in the last 2 years, it was $2,000. We didn't send any in 2023. We have yet to in 24. So I felt safe dropping it down to 1,000, cutting it in half. You know, if for some reason something goes up, you know, we always have county general miscellaneous that we can make it up with that, but. I just hate budgeting for something just in case either, so. So altogether, the county general health insurance, $551,600. I would like to, at some point, get a document figured out, to send to all of the employees showing not only their salaries, but, what the county is paying for all of their benefits, their health insurance, life insurance, all of that stuff. Where my husband works, they send that once a year, you know, the annual contribution or whatnot. So, now that we're fully staffed, that's something that I would like to look into. It's just good to see it on paper.
It's an impact.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Jason
Yeah.
did that, and wasn't the benefits almost half of the salary?
Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt, I
Yep.
mean, a family plan, I think it's
Yeah, it
$2,700.
was an eye opener when I saw it. I didn't even realize that was that much on the benefits.
Yeah, well, a single policy is almost $1,000, so that's, you know, $1,000 right off the top that the county pays 100% of. So,
15% total retirement.
yeah, exactly. Yep, the retirement and all that. Yep, so, that's on my list of things that I would love to take care of at some point here. And then the last one is the, Red River Regional Council contribution. 23 was 42.2, last year was 45,000. I kept it at 45,000. I believe that's what the request was for.
It
also.
was.
Yeah, so I wasn't too worried about that. So that's that. I have one more tab. It should be the next one, the social security technology.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, can I ask, I'm trying to figure out where for the treasurer's office, we contracted to do tax statements. I'm trying to figure out where that was budgeted in.
It was in their miscellaneous.
Okay,
Yeah.
could that be separated? Because I felt like our miscellaneous was really high and I guess I don't like a lot of a big miscellaneous fund. I'd rather see what it's for, especially a big expense like that.
Like that, I agree. That's why I couldn't believe when I looked at it, it was so high. I didn't understand what it was, and sure enough, that's what it was. I don't know if we're gonna use it, going forward. So, but if so, then yes, we'll create a line.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so then in social security and technology. So social security, line one, we adopted 185,000 for 2024. I went to 195,000, figuring in that 2%. Plus step, increase it there. Technology, that is energy replacing our computers. They sent, the quote and, 225,000 should be good for that. Telephone services, just like everything else, I'm afraid it's gonna go up in 25. The one thing I would be very interested in looking into at some point is figuring out if there's a way to go analog. We're spending so much on long distance. When I'm calling Bismarck for long distance, I'm always using my cell phone because it's free, a free call. So maybe at some point we'll look at campus-wide if there's a better way. The state went analog. Maybe it'll lower costs, but as of right now, 25,000,
Wow.
we're not too, yeah. And then retirement too was 280,000 last year. So I just increased it based on the potential COLA, to 295,000. So the social security expense line, $740,000. I think that is all.
Any questions with Christie's budgets?
Or any other breakouts or anything, if you guys want, I can sure send out to you guys, so. If you think of anything along the way.
Okay, hearing none, we're just gonna take like a 2-minute. Just because it's so cold. We are here with the JDA presenting their budget.
Yes, we should each have a cover letter and then, the budget spreadsheet that I provided. I did, so, after sending a few questions, I did submit a new, budget spreadsheet to help identify it a little bit better, hopefully, but I'm gonna start by going through the letter. Just to let you know, this preliminary, the amended 24 budget, the preliminary 25 budget were approved by the JDA board at their meeting in June, so, and I know this is we're doing budgeting different this year where we don't know the value of a mill, but what we used for budgeting was this current year's value. And based on that, the JD will be deficit spending in 24 and 25. So that's why I added in some content perhaps to talk about county sales tax, as an option. So as you know, the board is made up of members defined by century code, which are all appointed by yourselves. And we worked really hard to build a board of directors that understands the importance of the roles in the county as well as the region, because we do firmly believe that we are stronger together. And so some of the projects and initiatives that the JDA has supported reflect that. There's a wide swath of relevant things, needs, including workforce development, assisting business startups, with finance packaging, interest rate buy-downs, helping entrepreneurs, with business plan development and mentoring, addressing the childcare crisis in our area, workforce retention and attraction, supporting housing studies, leveraging other dollars to do all these things, as well as continuing to manage the self-help program, the county self-help program, as well as everything in between. And I did review a lot of this when I came last month, the impact report as well. But so basically, the JDA has continued to be a vital partner on many different types of projects, and what those projects are has evolved because the needs have evolved. And that what we're doing is focusing on what the business community is saying they need and what the data is supporting. So over several decades, the JDA had built a healthy reserve to support community and economic development in Walsh County. And honestly, we're grateful for those reserves because they've been able to allow the county to invest in these things that need to be done. But with that, it's been encouraged to spend down those reserves, and it has by supporting these important projects. So based on the current projections, the JDA will deficit spend an estimated $225,000 in 24. With the projected account balance at the end of the year being around $131,000. Even if you were to allocate the allowable 4 mills based on the current value of a mill for 25, we're still projecting to deficit spend in 25 as well, and leaving a balance of just $50,000. One of the reasons why we want to talk about sales tax, about the possibility of sales tax. So, and part of that is because we don't know always what's coming. I do know of 4 significant projects under development right now. And we're talking millions of projects, business expansion, and housing. I don't know what the ask that will be coming to the JDA will look like, but I expect there will be. And even if the JDA's contribution to those projects is in the form of the interest buy-down, for example, which typically isn't a significant amount, it is the amount that helps propel that project to even happen. So it's extremely important. I guess, and then moving on to talk a little bit more about the sales tax. Christy and I have responded a few times about this, that this may be possible. So that table on the backside shows what the total amount in sales tax has been for the last 5 years. So 1.7 million over the last 5 years. And so we'd like to have the opportunity to talk about if it's possible to allocate some of those funds to the JDA. And any other ideas you have, to help build a amount of money that can be used to assist in the ways that businesses and our communities are asking for. We are in unprecedented times, and the fact that 90% of our businesses state they have plans for expansion, the plan for growth, which is great. And that means that the JDA has a role to play in order to make those things happen. So with that, I'm gonna move over to the budget spreadsheet. I can kind of roll through this with you. And again, this is what was approved by the board, the JDA board at its meeting in June. So the first orange column is the amended budget for 24. And then the second one will be what we're projecting for 25. Again, we were using the property tax value of the 4 mills at 64,000. So the top is the only revenue the JDA receives. The only revenue it receives is through mill levy dollars and loan repayments. Then the rest of it is expenses. The top part, the one that's now outlined in the orange box, is related to staff. There was some questions I received back, so I'm hoping this helps answer some of that. So basically, everything in that orange box is what's covered under the contract. The contract is effective as of July 1st of 23 through December of 26. 175,000 was the agreed to contract amount for 24, with a 3% increase for 25, and then another 3% increase for 26. So the balance there at the bottom of the total operating budget basically is the remainder of what we're expecting for this year, and then that $183,000 amount will be what we're projecting for 25. Then I can go through some of the other expenses at the bottom there related to projects and programs. So the grants and feasibility studies, there was 5,000 budgeted, the actual for the year was 10,000, so that's why that's a negative number there. The interest buy down amount that we're expecting for the rest of the year, so this is what I know of to date, that doesn't include the other projects that I just spoke of. I added another additional 5,000 just for the unknowns, but it could be significantly more than that. Loans, those are like direct loans. There is no expected expenses related to that. Loan write-offs, we zeroed that out because I'm not an accountant, but we could probably ask if that should even be technically considered as part of an expense if it's a write-off, but there isn't any expected there. North Valley, the $15,000, that's the remainder of a total of $125,000 commitment that JDA made for work-based learning and the capital project that is going on there now. So there's be 15,000 more, and that would be the end of that $125,000 commitment. The 532 Hill Incubator, the JDA had $150,000 commitment. We have tried to put that out over 2 years rather than 1 year commitment. So we're projecting $75,000 this year, and the remaining $75,000 next year. The childcare project, this wasn't budgeted, but it is obviously an expense. We put 0 for the remainder of 24 and 0 for 25, and I can explain a little more about that. Marketplace for Kids is an annual sponsorship that JDA does. That's an entrepreneurship day that is held in our schools. Real Good People Attraction, that is the workforce and visitor attraction initiative that was born completely out of a request from businesses. Our employers talk about that they can recruit or potentially recruit any individual for a great position they have in their company. They can talk all about their benefits in their company, the great workplace culture, but it's not enough. People want to know what it's like to live, work, send your kids to school, healthcare in a region. So that is what the Real Good initiative is to help employers with employee recruitment and retention, as well as visitors, because visitors also have an economic impact as well. The Walsh County Career Builders Program, that is the match that reduces the employer requirement for employees that qualify for that program. It's either a scholarship program or student loan repayment. And the JDA money coupled with money from Park River and Grafton is used to reduce the employer's share of those costs for employees in that program. And as I've mentioned before, it's been extremely successful. In fact, it is the of the rural counties in North Dakota, it's #1 in terms of success. And then the other two are items, the R 2.0 match and the Grafton apartment complex are things that will be coming off this list once we approve the 25 budget. So looking at the bottom section there, the total expenses is $220,000 we're projecting for the remainder of 24. The total for 25 is $355,000. The bank balance right now, well, as of May, when we did this budget, it was approved by the JDA, was 212,000. So the total income for, and plus the total bank balance gives you an available cash as of, like, again, May, 351,000. But you take out the expenses, that leaves a balance, a projected balance of 131,000 by the end of 24. Then that balance is rolled over. If you look at the, to the next column, it's in that bank balance, section there. So even with that, the projected balance at the end of 25 is just $50,000. And on the back, I did provide some, you know, more significant, narrative, I guess you could say, on regarding the numbers on the front. We are initiating a process to have the bank balances reconciled for 23 and 24 because it was the time of transition between, previous director. Then the JDA hired an accountant service to manage books in between, and then the regional council taking it over, so we just wanna go through and have that done. As I mentioned, under income, the JDA's only income is from mill levies and loan repayments. That's why we wanna talk about sales tax. Under the operating budgets, so the 25 preliminary budget, as I mentioned, the contract for 25 included the 3% increase that's approved by the JDA. Typically, the JDA is audited part of the county audit, but Christina told me that it sounds like the state's not doing those now, right?
Well, they're behind, yeah,
So is the county waiting for the? Okay.
correct, yes, yeah.
So again, I don't know what our actual JDA's portion of the county audit was, so that's just an estimate on there. So under the grants or under the programs and projects, the grants and feasibility studies, I already talked about that. They had budgeted 5,000, but the actual is 10,000. And I also talked about the flex pays, interest buy down amounts. I put in there what we know today, plus an additional 5,000. North Valley's commitment was 125,000, and they JDA's paid over 80 in 24, and we'll pay an additional 15 before year end. That's for a total of 95,000 will be paid out in 24. The 532 business incubator, that was $150,000 commitment that the JDA made in 2022, and like I said, we proposed splitting the commitment over 2 years. The child care center was not budgeted because the project has evolved, and to date, the JDA has committed and paid $206,000 between 23 and 24. It wasn't included in the budget due to the timing of the grant announcement, and then when it came out, and then the costs obviously have, but the costs were expected to be covered by the grant, but as the project has evolved, so have the costs, and so that's where we're at now. The Real Good People attraction, the JDA committed 32,000 for 24 and 25, and that was also used as grant match. And that is all the counties participating in that, so that's Walsh, Cummin, and Nelson are all contributing towards that as well. The Career Builders Program I already talked about, so the $40,000 match is the $25,000 from Grafton, the $15,000 from Park River. And then the workforce development, the 2.0 match application, so that wasn't funded, so we'll remove that from the 25 budget once it's approved, and same with the Grafton apartment complex. The city withdrew its request to the JDA that committed $250,000 for that project, and that request was withdrawn, and so we'll remove that as a line item once the 25 budget is approved. So really, all of these things are responding to business needs. And the JD is attempting to be proactive, and doesn't necessarily have the budget to do it. This is why we're asking for the commitment of the 4 mills and potentially to talk about the sales tax. The JD board has obviously been very innovative and forward thinking. Some of these projects that are the JDA is supporting now, they wouldn't have even been on anyone's radar 10 years ago, but community and economic development has evolved, and the JDA is being a part of the solution to these issues. So with that, does anybody have any questions?
Madam Chairman? Yes, I have a question on the incubator project. Got 532 Phil Built Business Incubator. I don't hear much about that, but some things I've heard is like, it's not happening, but then yet somebody else says it is happening, so what's going on with that? I mean, 'cause you have a lot of funds committed to them.
It is still in process and Dawn can provide an update. She's working directly with the project, but it is still viable and it is still on the table for sure. Do you want to provide an update, maybe?
I'd be happy to, just. Big picture is we put the project out to bid twice last year and, the first bid was $5 million over. We put it out to bid the second time with a whole slate of alternates. And, received one bid for the mechanical only. That was at the end of the year. Our executive committee, which Jamie also serves on, is helping guide this project. Our last swing at the ball is going to be putting it out once more. And I've been working with the feds for the last couple of months on this plan. We will put it out as a construction management at risk contract. And I am encouraged by, we had, I've been enlisted Kevin Bartram, who owns Strecker Brewery in Bruhala in Fargo, which is another historic building. His sweet spot is run out of old buildings, and the thing that we really are impressed with is that he owns them also. So he has to manage costs and knows how to cash flow them. He owns another business next door that maybe falls under the radar for people visiting in Bruhala, the rail yard offices, which are small kind of micro offices for one man or solopreneur tenants. So our project is a bit of a smash up of all the things he's done. And we've been visiting with him. He has come to visit. He has interest. He just traded back from before we came over again. So we will be working with Icon as our architect. And we will be putting out a construction management at risk solicitation and a request for qualifications. And our executive committee will select who we proceed with. That's all open. And the federal government has concurred with this approach for us, which is not typical. And so, like I said, Kevin's assessment is, yeah, we should be able to get this project done with their budget. So that's kind of where we're at. So, and honestly, with his expertise on the historic properties side, just maximizing the historic appeal of the building is also, he's given us a revised layout that he thinks is optimal, both from cost as well as revenue reductions as well. So stay tuned. This has probably been one of the most, I would say my most difficult project in the longest time was 5 years in Village of Abraham Place, in 5 years. So like that, Frostfire is a decade worth. So this will rank somewhere in that neighborhood.
So,
And recently, we also received an award from the Spain Foundation to support setting up the programming. So alongside the construction of the project, we've been building the program partners and also attended a Center of Rural Innovation Conference in Red Wing, Minnesota last month. So building out our partnership base also to make it ultimately successful.
so my concern is we're deficit spending. And deficit spending to me is very scary. So if you don't get enough money through the mills, or like you said, the sales tax, you don't have money to maybe give for the incubator project, or maybe you don't have money to give for Walsh County Career Builders. How do you guys manage this when you're deficit spending?
Keep in mind the deficit spending is based on reserves. So it's not that we're going in the hole.
Oh, it's not going to
Right.
be studied reserves, because that's what I'm trying to find out here, and maybe I just am not reading this right, but how much do you have in reserves? Where do I see that?
That is the number at the bottom of the, that's $131,000 what we're projecting the bank balance.
That will be your reserve. Okay, so you can cover all these, even though you say it's deficit spending, you can cover all these.
Well, we're spending more For deficit spending and the fact that the expenses are higher than the revenues.
In that calendar year.
Yes,
Okay,
for 24 and for 25.
you're spending your reserve down. Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure I understood that, right?
Ernie?
I know, and I get deficit spending and everything else, but if every department or anything in the county was deficit spending, where would we be? I know you have the money, but now the money's gone according to your numbers, and then you're asking for more. So where does the deficit spending stop? There's gotta be some answer to deficit spending sometime.
Absolutely. So the goal would be that there be a reserve built that stays there. At this point, from my understanding, the JD board was asked to not have that. So
No, I think they took that wrong. The JD, I was on the board and everything else. What we said was if you spend it now, we don't want that much in the taxpayers. We never encouraged to spend it all. We just said, you know, if it comes down, we'll do it, but we never encouraged spending it. Cause everybody has their little, call it slush fund or whatever. But to me, to see that thing I was on the board for many years and I'm not against projects or anything else.
right,
But the deficit spend, I don't remember what was in there, $500 and some thousand or whatever was in that thing, and to see all of a sudden now we're down to 50 in 2 years, it scares me.
well, and it goes back to what I said about this is unprecedented times. You have some once in a lifetime projects that came through in the last 2 years. And I'm not sure which of those the JDA would have said, we're not gonna support that. I mean, I don't think there would be anything here that the JDA would say, oh, we don't want to be a part of that. So part of it is timing of when some of these projects came through.
So did they have to give those full amounts every year? Cause they said instead of 70,000, we'll give you 50 and then you could do more? That's my point about a budget. To me, like I said, these are projects and how much money or capital are they gonna come through to the county? Great if they do, but if they don't, how do you answer to all the people you spend all this money and got half of it out of it?
I guess I'm not quite following you with that.
Well, a lot of these, if I look at them, they're, work study and stuff, and I'm all for that. But let's just say that all of a sudden the incubator doesn't go through, just like your apartments down here. How do you justify putting that kind of money and then tell somebody, well, we just thought that it'd go through, so we invested in it? You know what I'm saying? I'm afraid, even me as a commissioner, we're gonna get yelled at, like, well, geez, they spent a lot of money, but nothing really came out of it. I'm all for it if it comes out of it, but it seems like we're putting a lot of money into hold list, wish list, or whatever, I don't know.
Well, so just to confirm, these funds aren't spent on these projects unless they move forward. So these are commitments, the
Okay.
JDA has made commitments and then it has
Okay.
to pay them out. So for example, the incubator, none of those funds have been spent yet because the project hasn't moved forward. For those projects that have moved forward, those funds, yes, have been
Okay.
spent. So it's a commitment at this point, for example, for the incubator. But the other projects that did move forward, yes, those funds have been spent.
So, and I get the movement we're taking in the JDA, do they take in consideration, let's say that incubator goes through? Is it gonna bring a lot of jobs per se to the area by having that?
Well, potentially, yes, but it's going to be the catalyst, for example, those new businesses. And the kitchen part specifically will be a catalyst for a significant economic impact for people who are baking and cooking in their homes. They can't scale up their business due to food laws, so they move into a commercial kitchen to create their product. They can now ship it, and yeah,
Okay.
exponentially has a great impact, yes. And then the business incubator side on the front, it helps reduce the potential businesses overhead. They have an idea for a product, they wanna have a storefront, but they don't have the cash, or they aren't sure if it's going to be viable. They start in a small space. Hopefully their product is great, it graduates, they need to move into a storefront and empty one somewhere else. So the goal is for it to be an incubator for expansion.
Excuse me. I think we forget about what this incubator is. We have been told several times, and I'm not trying but this is why we're trying to get this, to expand businesses for people. We're not just all the studies have been done for this place already, and we should know what it's gonna bring, except that when it moves slow, we forget. Okay, so, yeah, we're not spending money, if we don't have it, we're not spending money if it's not gonna happen. So, and then I lost my train of what I was going to say in the first place, Danny.
I've got a question on contract of professional staff, and another addition, 1.25.
So that, I skipped over that, I apologize. So the contract with professional staff is myself, as a full-time executive director, plus Lori Eastside serves as office and fiscal manager. Plus you're leveraging the entire team of the regional council, so that's why the plus is there. So technically, it's myself and Lori plus the rest of the regional council team.
So how many people total?
Five.
What?
6.
But those are the ones
But it's
you
not
are,
paying the salaries of 6 people.
No, it's on salaries of 6 people, that's part of the contract that you're leveraging those additional staff. And I don't know, maybe Julie, you wanna talk about why or how that came to be that the JDA opted to.
Sure. You know, a couple of years ago, we had, a person in our position as director, and she resigned after 1 year. The position was open for 9 months, and we went through 2 rounds of interviews to fill the position, and we couldn't find a qualified candidate. And at that time, as the board chair, I was, they put my email on everything, so I was doing a lot of the corresponding with answering emails or putting out fires or whatever it was,
Everything.
everything, I guess, as a volunteer. And Angel was available minimally to help us. And so when we couldn't find anybody, and I worked very diligently with Tanya in the office here at the county to try to attract people and try to get more people to apply, we just weren't getting qualified applicants. So the partnership between the regional council and JDA had been discussed in the past. And so I did pursue that because we weren't able to find someone and thought it would be a good fit, but I specifically asked for Stacy as the director because I had worked with her on another project and really knew that she had the years of experience that she needed and that we needed, and she could get us back on track as the director, and she has done a phenomenal job figuring things out. I just want to say, we were left with quite a mess. Our financials were a mess. It took Linda Hurt's office weeks to figure out where we were at in the books and also, I know that it's taken Lori, we had so many bank accounts and so many people were using those bank accounts, we weren't sure what money we had. So we're trying to get that, that's all being figured out right now and it's, progress is being made, but we do want to get an audit done so that we know where we're at for sure. Stacy has done a really good job. She's worked overtime, 12 of the 21 weeks so far this year. She's worked 4 out of 6 holidays. She's been a champion getting the funding for this daycare that we're in, this childcare center that we're working on. We're at 80% of our funding for that project, and that's grown to be over $1 million project. Just with the cost of the construction and mechanical and engineering, architects, everything. And, she just does a phenomenal job for us, and I can't say enough good things about her.
Not even fair to say that.
Okay, so, not knowing what the value of a mill is, it'll be more than 64,000, we know that. and not really having a chance to talk about, you know, the sales tax. And what's in there and how it's, you know, doled out or dispersed. I think we see your budget. And I think that we will discuss all this. You know, we're on a timeline now. I don't want to have people wait. So, we know that amount, you know, the value of a mill will go up. And you're asking for at least the 4 mills, and then for us looking at the sales tax. So, I think we'll go from there and do it that way.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to say I appreciate having, Amy and Karen on our board. It's been, very helpful to know that we have the support of the commissioners to, do the good work that we can do in Walsh County. So thank you for that.
Yeah. If you guys are in a hard spot. I mean, we as a county, we want businesses to come in. We want to be able to have workforce. We want to be able to have housing. We want new businesses to come in. And between you and Red River Regional Council, I think we have to consider all of that. So, Dawn, quickly.
I just want to kind of share a little bit about the why.
I think I'm gonna stop
But
here.
can I just, it's a map,
Okay,
it'll be simple.
okay,
I just wanted to share and,
okay, that's perfect.
why do we do the things we do? Why are we motivated? Why do we work overtime? Why do we work holidays? Why do we propose crazy things like the price program? This is the population map of North Dakota, and I serve on several statewide committees right now. And I can't get the spotlight on the orange counties. Every single day, in fact, my next meeting in 5 minutes is about this. And I've been wondering, are we an anomaly? Because why can't I get traction? Why can't we get traction? And why can we get 80% of the project done and we can't get to 100% without it being super, super hard and take a super, super long time, like the incubator, like the childcare project, like housing. The Grafton Housing Project's been in the works for 3 years. And we're $1 million from the finish line stuff. So how to take advantage of Karen also hearing this from the ground up, because we will be going forth with legislative asks to help fill the bucket in a way that gets us to the finish line and not short. But you have at your disposal the most dedicated, the most qualified, the most passionate team. Been doing this for 32 years. You got it today. And we are really, really lucky. We're really lucky. But this map drives me insane. This map makes me ponder on Sunday mornings with my cup of coffee, go, how do we fix this? So don't be damned if we're not going to. So when I call and say, gosh, we're planning a trip to Bismarck, please answer the call for us. Walsh County is #1 in population loss last decade. That's our notorious #1 ranking, as well as being ranked #1 in the Career Builders program. So we run the full gamut. Kendra likes to say, well, we've been doing all of that. Fargo has birthed the Grand Forks. And we have probably helped grow Grand Forks because our people are moving there, right? And beyond. So, but 3 of these counties, 3 out of 4 of ours are bright orange. So thank you for indulging that.
Yep. Thank you, Gals.
Thank you. So to clarify, when you do have this further discussion, will we be invited back for that, or how does that work?
It'll be on Zoom for sure. I don't know that we're inviting, you know, budget departments back. Or
I
not.
think in the past, like a drafted deal, we invite you back so you know, but I mean, that's a just common courtesy. So, yeah.
We'll keep
We
you,
appreciate that.
well, we will keep you abreast.
And I asked because I understand this was a outside of the box
Yes.
idea.
Yep.
And so if you would like us to be available, we would like to be able to be, so.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Double in yours?
Yeah, I did at the end. I have.
It's, well, it's a different,
The original one,
it's a different,
so that's the new one, the
The top one.
updated, the top, no, that one's the updated one.
yes.
So,
The top one?
No, this one is,
Well, yeah, this was in the bottom.
yeah.
yeah, that was the original one that.
I could do it.
Yeah, sure,
I want to get confused.
okay,
Thank you.
yep, thanks. Yeah,
Okay,
I wasn't sure.
okay, Katrina, you're next. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No. It's all good. All right, so for the purpose of the video, I'm Katrina Hodney. I am the president and treasurer of the Carnegie Regional Library Board of Trustees currently. And so today we'll be talking about a little bit of what we have in store for 2025 for our budget purposes and what briefly we intend to do with what we have and where and how we got there a little bit. So the budget change between 2024 and 2025, just as an overview, is we are asking for pretty much a $6,000 increase in the number. We have shifted things around as far as taking away from certain lines and putting them into other lines. Our biggest line obviously is our payroll. We had a employee change up earlier this year. So that's kind of accounting for where our salary numbers are right now. They will work themselves out next year just fine. We are looking at finishing this year right on budget or under. And then we've had a whole new board changeover this year as well. So that's been a learning curve as well for our new members. And everyone kind of apologizes for not being here with me. Jill had some things happen at the library today. She couldn't get away. And we're hoping that'll turn out okay. The other thing I sent to look at was our June checking roll to kind of give you an up-to-date where we are currently at with our balance in our checking account. We have 3 accounts total. And because of the due diligence of the last board and our current board, we are looking as a library to shape up the future great financially. We are looking now at redoing our entire policy books, general policies, personnel policies, and to include investment financial policies to where the library does not have any designated extra funds, such as an operational reserve dedicated or an emergency reserve dedicated, as well as capital reserve dedicated to where the building is old. It's not getting any newer. I don't see the library getting a new location, so we want to take our monies and be smart about everything and dedicate certain amounts to certain funds. And once we have all of that kind of established in our policy and in practice, we will inform the commission and the city council of what we're doing there. We also, yes, we're also in very good shape right now. The board is stabilized, the numbers are looking great. We are hopefully going to be expanding in the future because my role right now is what I'm doing is looking at the next 50 years rather than my next 7 that I'm on the board. I have a great team in my budget committee, my financial committee, to where we are kind of setting 2025 because we've only been tracking the number so long because of all the financial shakeups, and now there's a dedicated treasurer as of last year, 1.5 years now, something like that. So now that we've got a finger on the pennies, it's only gonna get better and more accurate from here. So with my team, we hashed out 2025 because it kind of came up real quick on us. And it's very accurate. We are going to start setting goals for unrestricted donations like fundraising and things like that for a goal for the director to meet every year. That's gonna slowly, hopefully increase or have more dedicated plans and outlines to it. The other thing that we're hoping for is 2026 is we're pretty much setting ourselves up for 2026 right now, because my new board just happened in February. So, it's been just kind of slow going with the numbers. It's been slow going. So with the changeover and with the drastic cuts that were made in the last couple of years and kind of rebuilding from there, we are gonna be looking great for financial planning from 2026 on. It is our goal by end of year or by January 1 to have our new policies in place. And we will be kind of revamping the budget lines a little bit to either kind of combine or make more sense. Things will be look a little different for the next budget meeting next year, just so that things are gonna get more clean, streamlined. We're doing really well on planning that way. That is mostly what I'm looking at. We're definitely going to be establishing an emergency fund. We're hoping for at least just the value of a mill to be, for example, and we as a board have to discuss whether or not we want to do all of it right away, just not push it, but just dedicate it right away, the whole sum of say 60,000 for an emergency fund. And then, or determine if we're just gonna put a little bit at a time in. So we're working out all of those things, and then I definitely, as the treasurer, want to look at ways to grow the money in a smarter way than just having it sit in one place and get so many dollars a month or a year. Hopefully make it to where the library in the future can be self-sustaining more. Absolutely, it still needs the support from the county and city. We'll always need that, but it's looking really good for the future.
So Katrina, your budget is going from, as far as the county, you're looking for $125,000 from us.
Yes, that is, of course, our best guesstimate as well, because of course, the value of the mill and yeah, because it's 4 mills from the city and it's 2 mills from the county.
I was gonna say it's about 2 more students.
Yeah, 4 from the city, 2 from the county.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Katrina, I'm just looking at last year's budget that you presented us, and when I look at, you had a list of your board of trustees, everyone but you is no longer there. So I'm just wondering if you'd be able to send us an updated list.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So we could see who's all on the board, because I know the Halverson is not there anymore now, correct?
Yeah, Libby moved.
Yeah, so,
And the city has forgotten to fill it for a while now. So they're hopefully reminding him. And we also have lots of interested parties, so it's just a matter of getting somebody on there that the mayor approves.
okay,
So that is being addressed monthly, weekly now. So yes,
Yeah, if you would just want to send us that, it'd be
absolutely,
fine.
I can.
Ernie has a question.
I see your budgets and it's nice that they're positive numbers. Do you have anything in reserve? For
Right
if
now-
something drastically happens or whatever?
Yes, we have a CD that is at 19,600.
Do you have that on here somewhere?
I didn't see it. I was
I
looking.
did not get the other
Yeah.
report sent.
So it's 19,000.
600.
Yes,
And it's no
19,600.
biggie. I always think of
Yeah.
something,
Um,
we look at the county and everything happens and all of a sudden, where do you come up with the money?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely,
At least
yes,
you got
and we
something.
do have a money market savings account as well. That also houses our summer reading program grant money, our computer funds, and that is 22,600.
Good enough.
And our checking currently today is 174,700, rounding up a couple dollars. So those monies we're looking at, we are going to restructure our money a little bit to determine we're gonna earmark things, we are going to determine what is the best place to put the money. You know, if we can get more money for the library by moving some money over here to get a better rate for a little while, take it back. The bank will work with us, or our current bank works with us to where we could access that CD immediately without penalty. So that's very nice.
So that's all stuff that you need to work out with your. board.
Yes, yes.
You just, you know,
Absolutely.
you're asking for our regular 2 mills.
Yep, exactly. We're not looking for an increase. We're hoping not for a decrease until we actually get
Yeah.
all of this in place with I'm confident with the new financial investment policies that we're gonna put in place. And the new everything this is going to be a great start to a good future.
Okay, well, we'll give you a year and then we'll take away the mills. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I love what you're doing here, so.
Yes, no, I'm confident in the numbers, I'm confident in our patrons, in the staff we currently have right now. It's really, everything is very well done at the moment. It is in a good place. Amy has been to a couple of our new meetings, this year. And everything is in a great spot to, now jump off. We have a good jumping point. Absolutely. And we're trying not to just be so dedicated on the next minute. We want to definitely be dedicated on the next decade, and, you know, beyond, because this library is.
So this first page you gave us is kind of like what is spent each month, and it's a typical, that's what happens each month. Okay.
Yes, I kind of wanted to give you a snapshot of where we're at. The reports we get from the accountant, some of them can be, they're misleading a tiny bit because it doesn't have the actual
Right.
numbers in there.
Yeah, but this is what you,
Yeah, that is an exact
most of
snapshot.
what your
Yes.
expenses are. Are there any questions for Katrina?
We'll give you an extra meal.
Okay,
Yes.
well,
Thank you so much for
Good
your
work.
time.
good work to.
And then
see all this.
I will definitely send you more information as we get it established as well. And hopefully we'll get to a great place to where everybody's on a equal footing.
Yep.
And we maintain our library for years to come.
Yes, yep, sounds good.
Thank you so
For,
much for
thank
your time.
you for being on there and.
Absolutely. It's the first board I think I've served on. Oh, well, aside from the Legion, but that is not the same thing. But it's great. It's a great experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
We got more garbage again from last year.
These front ones, is that?
That's just. Yeah, you guys can get rid of those, I don't know.
Is that?
I'm gonna bring it back.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
I guess-
I actually have them in the car.
I guess there's no boots.
Something.
I need my hand warmers from Shields, I usually have.
Like that.
Around a
Yeah,
little
so-
worksheet.
Yeah, all that, so I was saying to Amy yesterday, there's.
I got a lot too.
I'm not even know how to go in.
I think over the weekend, or over the week, while I'm in the, and get it. Okay. Probably I'll have to know what their value for me.
They're sitting on a lot.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sitting on a lot of money.
We might have some major repairs with that building, I wonder if that library since it's older.
I visited there the other day and. I thought the work that was done in the
New part or the
old part was just fine. I didn't see anything, but you know, I don't. So,
It's not too close.
well, I did, but I couldn't find to, so. Okay, well, do we wanna discuss anything or recess? Till
1:30.
1:30? Okay, well, adjourn till 1:30.